Let's talk inflation and home sales on Today in Mortgages. Hey, what's up, Dreammakers? Welcome back to the show. We're talking about what's real, what's hype, and we should actually be paying attention to out there in the world of mortgage and real estate news. It's Today in Mortgage. Rich, today I want to talk about the state of homes and inflation. Can we do that today?
It's a little spooky, Michael.
It's a little spooky here on Halloween, but there are some signs of light in the economy. First, we're going to start with the PCE. Rich, this came in right where it was expected, but tell us what we're looking at and some of the breakdown that we see in the numbers.
Well, the PCE is one of the Fed's primary gauges to see where we are for inflation. We're down to 2.1. The target's 2.
Pretty
So
close.
it's working.
Yeah.
It's working.
Tell me a little bit about some of the numbers inside that, especially when it has to do with housing and where we're at on that.
Yeah, the housing inflation has slowed up a bit. It's still 0.3%, but it's not as high as it has been. And so those are all the good things. And primarily what's causing is the higher interest rates that are slowing that piece of it down because, even though we're starting to see a little more inventory on existing homes, we're just not seeing the sales primarily because of affordability issues associated with the higher interest rates.
So inflation came in kind of where expected. That housing inflation, we've talked about it before. It's sticky because of inventory. You're talking about rents, so there's a lot of that goes in there, and that is at like you said, 0.3% annualized. That's going to be 3.6%, which is still significantly above where that 2% mark. And so housing continues to be sticky for all the reasons we're about to talk about, Rich. And so let's get into some of the articles we have for today. First, we're going to start with this article from Reuters.com. It says U.S. existing home sales slide to 14-year low. Prices stay elevated. So you talked a little bit about an inventory of existing homes, but the sales is the big part here. 14-year low. Let's talk about that, Rich. Tell me what you see here.
With interest rates being elevated, you cut out a lot of the home buyers. One, you cut them out literally for qualifications. And then another one, you cut them out mentally because they just feel like, even though I can afford that payment, I just really don't want it. So that's a big piece of it. And existing home sellers are just not coming off the price. They're negotiating a bit for concessions to help maybe a home buyer pay their interest rate down or stuff like that. But they're really not coming off a price a whole lot right now.
Well, Rich, that's existing home sales. Let's shift now to new home sales. And we're looking at a second article from National Mortgage Professional. It says sales of new homes continued to increase in September. So existing homes have decreased, but these new homes are giving us a little bit of a bump. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, well, one is you have some home builders that are building in that $300,000 range, $300,000 to $350,000, which is the new first-time home buyer price range.
Which is
and
wild.
So those builders are cranking. So that's what's happening is your existing homes, those people aren't that motivated to move, even though they got their homes listed. They're not that motivated because maybe they don't have a life event that's making them have to move. They're just like, oh, let's test the market. Let's see what we can get for the property since I got all this equity. But they're sitting on 3% interest rates. So for them to go buy a new property, they're going to have to pay 6.5%, 7% today. And if they're downgrading or downsizing in properties, they're not really going to save any money. They're just going to pay the same for a smaller home. So there's also all of those dynamics that are happening, but new home sales are just cranking.
And that's kind of the silver lining of this kind of whole environment that we're in right now, Rich, is that new home sale, those new home buyers that need those more affordable units to get into are coming online. And so that's good news. And like you said, we are up quite significantly from where we were on rate whenever the Fed actually cut their rate. And so we're seeing some of that in light of the PCE report that we got this morning. What are the projections now for maybe some additional cuts this year or even at the beginning of 2025?
Well, just based on what I read on a daily basis, the chances are still in the 90+% that we're going to see a 25 basis point cut next month.
Okay.
That could always change.
Yeah.
But remember, they were talking about 2 more cuts this year
Hmm.
of 25 to 50 basis points. But it really is going to be around jobs. If tomorrow, Friday's job report comes in solid, which the ADP report on Wednesday and today's jobless claims showing there's not a lot of people filing for unemployment, new files for unemployment, I expect we're not going to see a negative job print tomorrow as some expect. We're likely to see job growth, which of course that's just great for us, right? Our economy's solid, things are rocking, people are working, but that just says to the Fed, okay, what we're doing is sound. There's really no reason to drop the interest rates right now. And that's for mortgage people, obviously. That makes it rough. And for home buyers.
Yeah, and just to put some numbers behind that, Rich, the number that came in, we had a decrease of 12,000 jobless claims, unemployment claims, and so there's less people filing for unemployment. We can kind of assume based on that the jobs report tomorrow is going to come in strong. We'll see. You never know. Rich, this time next week, we're going to be in the throes of figuring out who the president is. Do you feel like that's going to play into this at all?
Yeah, it's already playing in. I mean, what we're seeing, some of the chaos that we're seeing in the markets over the last week or so are just really a lot of foreign countries that invest in treasuries and things in the States here. They're starting to sell off. They're really disappointed that neither candidate are talking about debt and deficit. We clearly have issues. Both of them are going to rise to elevate our debt and our deficit. They're both going to. One is bigger than the other, but it's still, and there's just no talk. Where's the talk about spending cuts? Where are we going to cut? None of that is happening. So just investors in our country are getting nervous. And so that's why you're seeing a lot of volatility that we're seeing in the stock market and also in the interest rate market today.
Balance sheets are out of whack. Well, Rich, thanks so much for making us smart on this. Thanks so much for all that you do here at the network. If you guys are interested in learning more about the best network in mortgages, click the grow link below. We'll get you all the information you need to know to be able to grow your business at the best network in mortgages. Hey, Rich, thanks again. Any final words on this or anything else going into the weekend?
It's just like for us in the mortgage business, we just needed to stay resilient. We just need to stay positive and uplifting for our clients. Learn your products, understand everything that's available to every single home buyer and borrower today. And we rise through this. We always do.
Well, thanks, Rich. Everyone out there, if you're celebrating tonight, happy Halloween. We'll see you next time on Today in Mortgages. Today in Mortgages is produced by Network Funding LP, which is an equal housing lender, NMLS 2297. The content of this program is meant to be a commentary on mortgage and real estate news, and any discussion of rates and or products should not be taken as an individual mortgage or home buying advice or pricing estimates. And any commentary on this show should not be considered a promise to make a loan. All applicants for a loan must qualify, and you should consult a professional regarding your individual loan scenarios for your financial situation. Visit our website at nflp.com/licenses for all state licensing and other legal information.